I'm always very open when I tell people I bought my wedding dress.
You did.
I bought my wedding ring. I bought his wedding ring. I bought his shoes.
Welcome to Maybe I'm a Hoe, a safe place for the girlies to talk about navigating healthy dating habits and the BS that goes with it. I'm your host, B. Cheyenne, and I'm here with Alexyz Joi. She's dying because this is the first time she's like heard the intros. So she wasn't expecting it.
Definitely not. I love it though.
I'm super excited.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, I wanted to create this platform because I feel like women are just so conditioned to feel like we have to date in a very specific way.
Yes.
And men can literally do whatever they want.
Any and everything.
Nobody asks any questions. Mm-hmm. And it's just a kind of like a double standard that we've just been okay with and accepted.
Yeah.
And so I really want to embrace the fact that the things that are okay for us to do, like go on a couple different dates with different guys and go on trips and enjoy dating.
Yeah. That
men consider us being a hoe for, okay, then maybe I'm a hoe. So when we were talking about your relationship.
Yes.
And one thing is, I didn't know that you have an age gap in your relationship, and I really want us to focus on that on this episode.
Absolutely.
Tell me, first of all, what is the age gap in your relationship?
Yeah, so my boyfriend's 6 years older than me.
Okay.
Which is not like a lot, but this is the oldest gap that I've ever had.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's like this, like, so you've dated guys more your age or
my
just
age?
Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I refuse, which is, there's a big conversation about dating younger. Yeah. I refused to date anybody younger than me.
You've never done it before?
Never.
Never, ever, 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 ever.
Ever.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay, so he's 36.
He just turned 37.
Oh, he just turned
And I'll be
37.
31 at the end of this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's, so, I mean, I wouldn't say so far so good, but like you definitely see the differences. And I think age definitely has a like part to do with it. But even like conversations that we've had, I'm like, oh, you know, yeah, he is pushing 40. Like,
oh wow,
conversations are different than like somebody who's still 30 or turning 31 like I am.
Yeah.
But they're good.
Yeah.
They're like good conversations of like, you know, I didn't think about that. That's true. And like, there's always the taboo between turning 30 and then turning 31. So like once you're 29, it's like 30. Like I don't. Now I'm like, wait, no,
because it's real.
Yeah, it's real.
Sets in,
yes,
it feels like you're supposed to be in a place where you have certain things together.
Yeah.
Because I just turned 30 in January, and so I was kind of in my head like, I feel like I should do this and I should be doing that and I should be here, and I kind of felt really scared.
Yeah.
And then I know once I hit 31, I'm really gonna be like
into the thick of it.
Yeah.
Literally. Being 30 is like your perspective changes. Yeah. So it's even like if I were to date younger, like being 30 and being like, yeah, but my boyfriend's 27. Anybody under the age of 30 now is like, you're
weird.
A baby. Yeah. Even if you're 29, it's like, no, you're a baby.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Like you can't do anything for me.
Yes, literally. Which, I mean, there's a lot of 20-year-olds. I mean, now our generation's so entrepreneurial that like there are some people who are 21 making six figures. There's some people younger than that making six figures. Yeah. But it's still that mindset. It's like 29 to 30, it's like a switch in your mindset that like instantly changes. It's weird, but it's good.
Yeah. How did you guys meet?
So we met through work, actually.
I love a traditional, organic. Let me tell you something. The way these dating apps will make you feel like there is nobody out here and the only way you can meet people is online. It's so frightening, and so that's just so refreshing.
Yes, which I will say, I used to be a fan of dating apps. So I've been married before, and I met my husband on a dating app.
You've been married before?
I have been married. Yes, which is always like the wait, huh? For how long? When did you get married?
'Cause you're 30.
I just turned 30. Yeah, well, not just, but yeah.
Yeah. So. We're gonna unpack a lot. We're unpacking a lot. Okay. So, all right. Well, let's start off with the meeting.
Yes.
So you guys met at work.
Yes. So ironically enough, he does private security. So he was doing security for a podcast, I guess a podcast or a show that I was working on. Okay. And I, of course, was there just because that's where I worked. Yeah. And I was, mind you, I had seen him like a couple of times, but in the phase where we really started talking, I was going through like I wouldn't even call it depression because I don't want to put like depression on myself, but I had just like, I don't even want to say ended because it wasn't a relationship. I had just got out of a situation that was absolute trash. Like dumpster trash, bottom of it, like real bad. And
so it did a number on you mentally.
Oh yeah.
Emotionally.
Yeah. I lost so much weight. I was like down and out from that situation.
I'm sorry you experienced that.
I'm happy that I did though, because it showed me what kind of person they were for me having known them my entire life.
Yeah.
So it was over a course of like a couple days. He was coming up to the studio. I was there, of course, working, and he would always see me and I would see him and I was like, he's really cute. I one day went, I believe we had Cardi B on the episode, and I had just done my hair because I was like, I'm about to take a picture with Cardi, like make sure my hair is freshly washed, freshly straightened. And I'm walking to the back of the studio and he follows behind me and I'm like, okay, what's happening? And he goes, I don't know if anybody's gonna tell you, but your hair in the back is messed up.
Wait a minute. Right. You know what gagged me? I thought he was getting ready to be like, you look beautiful. No. He said, no, your hair is...
Fix that.
You need to get it together. Because you thought you looked cute.
Right. I'm walking around in my little two-piece set, like, ooh, I'm finna take... Mind you, I had no makeup on, but I still was like, I don't want to put makeup on, but like, my hair is done, and that's all that matters. And our first conversation was, the back of your hair is messed up.
The hallmark of a great relationship.
When I tell you, I was so embarrassed because I was like, he's cute, and like, now I never have a chance.
Oh my God. It takes balls for a man to come up and be like, your hair is messed up.
Literally.
Because a lot of them will just let you walk around looking crazy.
100%. So everybody in that room did that.
Yeah. In a way, he was kind of putting it out there like, I'm the man for you. I'm going to tell you
how you look.
Yeah.
Because I want you to look a certain way. So I was like, that's embarrassing. Like, dang, the back of my hair is sticking up. But like, thank you.
Now I'm wondering, because you said that you were coming out of a really bad situation.
Yeah.
So when you met him, kind of like on the tail end of that, how did you know that you were ready, even like, or in a good mindset to entertain what was coming with that?
I mean, it took some time. So us having like our first interaction was like the top of the year. We didn't physically, I think he had followed me on Instagram like a month later and I was like, oh my gosh. So it was really slow. It wasn't anything that was like really fast. So it took a couple months and me kind of just processing like, that last situation to finally be like, okay, I think I'll be good. But in my mind at first also, it was kind of like a way to get my mind off of that last situation, which of course a lot of people are like, well, that's a rebound.
Like I was thinking that.
Yeah.
As a rebound.
Where it's like, sometimes a rebound is a good thing because it takes your mind off of that situation. And in my case, it showed you better.
Yeah. So
it took from our first conversation, maybe like, I would say that was January, because I'm like, I remember December was a trash month. Okay. But like January was when he told me my hair was messed up. Our first date was in June, after we had just kind of gone back and forth in DMs on Instagram. And then he was like, hey, here's my number just in case you want to text me. Yeah.
Nice.
And so it's been ever since then.
When you found out his age and the 6-year gap, what was the very first thing that came to mind for you?
I think it was more like, whoa. Like, okay, that's
like intimidated or kind of worried? Like, what was the energy behind the whoa? I
think for me, the first thing was like, okay, is he going to have a problem with me at that time still being 29? Like, when I tell him my age, he's going to be like, you're too young. Because we always joke now, I'm younger than his brother.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Okay, so he has a brother and a sister. I'm in between the both of them. Okay. But my main thought was like, is he going to think I'm too young for him?
Right.
And I think once we got into conversation about like what our past experiences were, he had been married before as well. So it's like that helped a lot, where he understood the whole marriage concept and, having a marriage that wasn't successful. And I had that whole concept of like, I've been through a marriage and had a marriage that wasn't successful as well. Wow. So I think that overtook a lot of like the concern and age, the experiences that we have both had.
The thing is, and I'm really kind of I can't help but think about the stereotype that comes behind younger women dating older guys because it's very prominent. Like you see it in entertainment all the time and you see people get ripped apart for it. And then, but it happens in like everyday couples where some people might say 6 years isn't that bad. Some people be like 6 years, that's crazy. And so I know especially it's harder for the woman. Yeah. Because sometimes you can get looked at like, well, what do you want from him? Yeah. Are you a gold digger? Are you this? Are you that? Like, there are a lot of negative connotations and assumptions that come with that. Yeah. Were you ever worried about the looks or thoughts or opinions of people when they found out about the age difference?
I don't think so. Okay. I think early on we had a conversation about the ages that he was dating. So he was dating people that were older than him. Oh. So for him, not significantly, but like a year or two older than him. And so he would say, you know, maybe that was my downfall, that they were older than me. Yeah. And so given the fact he looks, even though he's pushing 40, he looks very young. So from the outward appearance, it's like, okay, young people. But then when it comes to the age, I think my only thing was like, are people going to say like, nah, she's too young for him? That was my biggest thing, which shockingly has not happened. And in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, his friends are going to be like, no, she's younger than your brother. Like, you sure? Yeah. But I mean, age hasn't really been a big like downfall. Good. It's all just been like, you know, we've gone through different experiences. There's something that your younger age can help me with, and there's something that your older age can help me with. So it's kind of like a meet in the middle where like, yes, he's had more life experience than I have had and can share that with me. And I'm coming from, I don't want to say another generation, but like a younger generation where like different things that when he was my age wasn't a thing at all, didn't exist, that I can now share with him. So it kind of balances and it helps things flow a little bit easier.
I know you said the conversation is like a huge difference, but is there anything about your experience dating Joshua that will really make you be like, God forbid anything happens, right? If you were to go back out and date, because we already know that you're not going to go younger than you. Yeah. What is something about this relationship with Joshua that would make you be like, you know what? Older men are for me.
Communication. Which there are older guys who can have trash communication. Yeah. But one thing I used to always tell my friends is like, this man will not argue with me. What do you mean? Like,
I love to argue. So right. Yeah. So what is
like in past relationships, like I was always like, okay, if something happens, if an argument comes up, we're going to discuss it. We're going to go back and forth. Yeah. He will not. Oh. And once I realized that and sat back and like looked at the benefit of not having a back and forth, I was like, you know what? That's actually really good. Because I'm the type to like, if you need some time to like, you know, give me a couple minutes. No, you don't get your couple minutes. We're going to talk about this right now. Yeah. Like I will follow to wherever you're going and we're going to talk about this now. Yeah. But it's not healthy. Yeah. Like, I know. Yeah. It's like, cause then you say things and things happen and then it gets worse and worse and worse. And with Josh, like he'll be like, you know what, I need my time to like cool down, which granted, there's not been many arguments because our communication has been there. But like with him, I've learned like taking time is not bad. If I can communicate openly, like what I'm feeling, and he can communicate what he's feeling in that situation, and we have a productive conversation, that's the most important. Because for me, I'm also, being with him has helped me realize that I can go in circles in an argument. You'll address something earlier on, and I'll come back and say, but you said da 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 da, and then now you're saying. So with him, it's not that. He'll stop it and be like, I'm not going to go in circles
because you're not getting to a resolution.
Exactly. Yeah. And I used to always be like, no, but we need a resolution. But you said it, and that does nothing. Yeah. And so with him being like, I've gone through the arguments, I've done that, I've had situations like this, and really expressing how to better that is something that I think age really, in my relationship at least, was a huge thing for me.
It takes a lot of self-awareness to know when your communication style is absolutely garbage. Yeah. And I feel like women, we get flack for wanting to talk too much. Yep. And then men, we feel like they don't talk enough.
Yes.
So it's like us talking too much. We're trying to bring out what you're keeping in. And that's like, that hurts us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of men, they will just shut down.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just don't
want to talk about it. Yeah.
This.
And I feel like that's with being younger, like dating when I was younger, it was like that. Like, I'm just going to shut down and we're not going to address this situation at all.
Yeah.
Like, that just, it does nothing. It does nothing. And again, it's like hitting that 30 as a woman of like, you know what? I need to get better at this. Like, I can't keep doing the stuff that I was doing in relationships when I was 20. Because clearly it didn't work.
Yeah.
So there has to be some change in what I'm doing. And for me also, I mean, a big thing was family.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that too.
Yeah. Like, with my ex-husband, his family was overseas. So it was like, I didn't really get to have that connection with them. But also, even no matter where they're at, seeing the connection that your partner has with their family by themselves. And so for me, coming out of a situation in my marriage where the relationship with his family was, it wasn't great, it wasn't bad, it just kind of was like not my ideal. But his relationship with my family was absolutely awful. Because it just, the disrespect, it just was a lot.
Oh, it was like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like having to be in between like my family and him, and it just, no.
Yeah.
If that's, and I always tell people, if that's ever like a situation, because you see it in the movies, like, and people really take like, oh, you know, it's just a movie. No, there's situations where like you might have a friend who's like, yeah, I don't really get along with their mom, like I don't really get along with, like, that's absolutely not. So for me, that was a big thing. And seeing him now, like seeing my boyfriend now with his family, like they're so close. I love that. And like seeing how he interacts with my mom and my grandma, and like it's just, yeah. Family, having a good connection with your own family was number one for me. When it was like, okay, I'm ready to move forward and continue dating. If you have a trash, like, I barely talk to them, I'm sorry, couldn't do it.
Speaking of family, because I do want to touch on your marriage,
yes,
your ex-husband. But before we get to that, speaking of family, way back, I was talking to an older guy. And the age gap was maybe about the same, maybe like 6-7 years. And I felt like super grown and felt good, because I'm like, oh, I got this older man. He gonna do this for me. He gonna do that for me. He gonna put me on. And then it came down to like having real conversations about him wanting to like settle down, get married, have children. And at that time, I was only maybe in my mid-20s. So I was still outside.
Yes.
And
the thought process is completely different.
Completely different. And so it kind of scarred me from wanting to date older men again. Yeah. Because I was always afraid that they would be like 5 steps ahead from where I was emotionally, or just like mentally, financially, whatever. Yeah. And so I'm wondering, did you ever have a moment where you felt like, or maybe you were worried that you might want more than what I'm able to do right now in your life?
I think so. We had a conversation in our relationship just kind of about what the future looks like. And me, of course, still being early 30s, is like, I think I might want to do that. And he's like, well, I don't. And it was more so like, okay, I want you to really like take the time to think about it. Because still, I'm like, I still want to have fun. Like, I still want to do this. I don't go out like that. So it's not like I'm trying to go to the club and like, I need you to agree. But the conversation really opened me up to like, maybe I am in agreement with what he doesn't want. Maybe that's also what I don't want. And so having the conversation, had we not had it, would have been just kind of out in the open. But I think having it being said helped to like mature my way of thinking in a sense, in terms of like, is that something that I want in the future? And like really putting into perspective, where like a 20-year-old Alexyz may have been like, I don't want to think about that right now, which is something that like in your 20s, that's your freedom stage. Yeah. So dating somebody when you're 20 that's in their 30s, and the conversations that come with that, it's unfair. Yeah. Like, it's unfair to put, no matter if it's the younger person being the woman, the younger person being the man, those conversations in your 20s are still unfair. Absolutely. So for me, I think having the tougher conversations about what the future looked like was more realistic. Because you think, of course, like you have your Pinterest boards, like, this is what my future is going to look like. Yeah. But then having that real conversation is like, you know what? I never thought about it. Let me actually like pause, take a breath, think about it. If this is somebody that I want to be with for long term, like we're going to have to meet in the middle on these situations, or I might 100% agree with him. I might 100% disagree with him. But at least I'm in the mindset of realistically thinking like, what does the future look like? And that's something that I think 20-year-old me wouldn't have been able to do.
How would you define the difference between compromise and settling?
I think for me, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like a compromise. At least in the conversations that we've had up into this point of our relationship. It's more of like for me, a realization. Where I wouldn't say I'm compromising and I wouldn't say I'm settling. It's like you know what? I actually agree. Because it's like I haven't thought about it in that way. And hearing his perspective on like this is what I want to do, this is what I don't want to do, based off of the life experience that he's had, really opened up like, okay, I didn't look at it like that. Knowing that you have this 6 years on me, which of course is like not a whole lot, is like a 15-year or something like that. But it was more of a like, I don't even want to use the word agree to disagree. It was like I agree with you, not because you said you don't want to do it or because you said you do want to do it, but because I really sat back and looked at like what value or what does it bring and what doesn't it bring? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? I think it's more of a like, I agree.
Yeah.
After I've had time to think about it.
The reason I ask is because I'm sure there's going to be somebody listening to this who's going to go with the other end of the stereotype of an age gap relationship and feel like the man is manipulating her because he's older and he's like more experienced. And so someone might hear it and be like, oh, well, all he did, he's just trying to change her. He's just, and they don't even know that you might slowly be changing his mind about some things too.
Exactly. I was just going to say that looking at it like in the space I'm at now, like I wouldn't say a good answer, but when there comes a conversation that's about what a relationship in the future looks like, for me, it was a matter of saying something like, right now, that's not what I want, or right now, that is something I want, but I can't give you an answer right now, and getting his perspective from that. Again, like you said, either person's mind can change as time goes on. Yeah. And as long as your partner is able to say, you know what, I understand that. And I can get with that. I'm not going to pressure you to make this decision now. And I'm not going to pressure you to change your mind. I'm going to go with what you're saying, and we'll have a future conversation later on down the line.
Okay. How old were you when you got married?
So I was 23.
23?
I think so. 20. Yeah.
How old was he?
He was 20. Well. So here's the fun part.
Okay.
And I'm definitely, I don't want this to come off like a stereotypical stereotype. He was African.
Got you.
So I already know there's people like, oh, yeah, that makes, right. Yeah, okay. So in all honesty, I want to say he was, if I was 23 at the time, he was 24, 25.
Okay.
But then later on down the line, we had a conversation of my birth certificate and my dad and my dad.
Oh.
So in all honesty, I don't know how old he is. I have no idea.
Oh.
He used to say, like, I think when I turned 25, he was like, but I'm 30. And I'm thinking like, but are you really?
Are you though?
Like, because what you're doing is not giving 30. But like, you also don't know how old you are.
Scary as hell.
Yeah.
Do you think his name was his real name?
I think so.
Okay.
Because through all like the documents, the name was exactly the same.
Okay.
But even the date of his birthday was different.
Even the date?
Yes.
The month was the same.
The month,
even the month
and the year.
Oh, we're
both different. The physical day stayed the same.
How did you see these documents?
So when we got married, of course, and then because. So this is the best
This
part.
is a story time, first of all. Like, this is a TikTok series. I'm just letting you know.
100%. Okay. So, like, when we met online, he was, I'm French. Like, I'm from France. And then once we started talking, he was like, no, I speak French, but I'm from Africa.
All right. You're a liar.
Right. So I was like, okay, like, did you live in France? Like, and me being young, and I wouldn't even say dumb because, like, it just, well, no, being young and dumb. Yeah. Not seeing those red flags and not having much experience of like, I would say a long-term relationship. Because in college, I was like, this is my boyfriend. And 2 weeks later, we done. Little stuff like that. This was like the first like long, since I've been back home from college and I think I'm grown. I think I could do everything.
Yes.
That I was like, okay, this the one. But in him, I feel like there were so many lies. I wouldn't even say lies, but he came. Yeah. He came on a student visa.
Okay.
Overstayed his welcome.
Of course.
So now it was like, okay, let's get married. Like, I need a green card. Yeah. But like, we're in love. And me being like, yeah, we're so in love. But like, yeah, he needs a green card. But like,
I need a green card.
Yeah, like, we're so in love. Like, oh my gosh, like, this is who I'm going to be with forever. And so when we went to like immigration and like having to get married and like all of that stuff, you have to have proof of your birth certificates.
Yeah.
And your passports and all that. So like, I saw the birth certificates, saw the passports, and everything looked normal. So like the secondary age and the secondary birthday was just kind of like word of mouth. But like his mom would wish him happy birthday on both birthdays.
Oh, so she's in on it.
I think so. Because like, I mean, granted, she had an accident and her something, it was like a really tragic accident. So like her brain functioned and she was in a coma for a long time. So I kind of just, in terms of her, chopped it up to like she lost a lot of her memory, so maybe she forgot that portion. I don't know, but like you wishing her a happy birthday.
Did anybody else like wish him happy birthday on the 2 days? No, but okay.
Just his mom.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I'll get over it. Like, you're whatever age I guess you say you are. The older age, so the 30 always came up only in arguments.
Oh, because it's in his mind, it's a way of asserting dominance.
Yes.
Because he's like, I'm older than you. I'm wiser.
Yep. The whole, like, guys mature at a slower rate. No, that's true.
Yes.
That's 100% true. They could be 40 and still be not right in the head.
They're all missing some brain cells.
Yeah.
All of them are. The amount is just different.
Yeah.
It just varies depending on the guy.
Throwing that age out there is like, yeah, it's cute, but like, are you acting that way?
Right.
Are you is your age matching how you're acting?
Yeah.
And so for my ex-husband, it was like, when you going to work? Like, you going today?
That's what I'm so curious. So what was the dynamic like as husband and wife? You guys lived together? You guys the laugh is so okay.
We lived with my grandmother.
Okay.
And it was always
how does grandma feel about?
I mean, my grandma's very supportive. My mom and my grandma have always been very supportive of a lot of the stuff that I've done in my life. Coming to them and telling them like, hey, we're like, he went unbeknownst to me and talked to them like, can I propose to Alexyz? Talk to my mom, my grandma, and my dad. Oh. Like, can we get married? I mean, I don't know what the gist of their conversation was, but we got engaged, which men, do not ever propose on a holiday, on your birthday, on her birthday, he proposed the day of his birthday. And I knew he was going to do it the whole time. Because you don't invite my entire family to your birthday dinner. Oh. So I walked in like, yeah. Here we go. I already knew.
But were you not excited at the time?
Oh, I still boohoo cried. Ugly cried. Like a fool.
Like a fool.
Like, just ugly makeup smeared. Now, after the engagement, it was like, take your time with the engagement. You don't have to rush it. Like, take your time. And it was, I want to say it was definitely pressure from him to hurry up and get married. And they were not happy at all.
Right. Of course.
To where it was like, it was a lot of conversations like, Alexyz, are you sure? Like, da-da-da-da-da. It was not a good time leading up to that. But me being 23, 22 was like, oh no, I'm getting married. Like, I'm grown. Yeah. Like, we're so in love. Like, it's not for a green card. Like, oh my gosh.
You're so convinced.
Yeah. Like,
the whole time he's like,
let's hurry it up.
That's not K1, because K1 visa is when they're already in another country and you're bringing them over, right?
Yep. And funny enough, my uncle works for Border Patrol.
Oh, girl.
So he called me like, Alexyz,
you got to be careful.
You need to do it the right way. Send him back. But it was like, he's overstayed. So like, he'll be banned for like however many years until he can come back. So like it was a lot of people in my life who were like, Alexyz, don't do this.
Yeah.
Which I'm grateful for. Like at that moment, I was like, don't tell me what to do. Like I'm gonna do what I want to do. But like looking back at it now, I'm really grateful for it. And I wouldn't even say like I even regret my marriage because I learned a lot through it. Staying with my grandma the entirety of our marriage, which we were only married for 3.5 years.
Okay. That's a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah.
Don't discredit that.
Yeah, that is a long time. I'd always be like, when you go to work, whenever that is, like.
What was he doing?
Making moves. Those words.
He's such a 20-year-old.
I'm making moves. What is making moves?
He was very much a 20-year-old.
Yes. And in his mind, it was, I'm going to play basketball and I'm going to be a rapper and be an entrepreneur.
Was he good at any of those things? Oh, okay. Don't let the silence
I will say, I was for basketball. I was his number one fan.
You were the only fan. Yes. That's why you were
like. And I will get like my mom and grandma when he had like little like the men's pickup league games out here. Like they would come and we'd all go to his games. We would drive to Arizona. I would drive to Arizona and back to you want to do what tryout? Okay, let's go. Let's figure out a way to get you to Arizona and So like it, I'm like if you literally I wouldn't even call it love. I think I love the idea of being able to say I have a husband. Yeah,
you were infatuated with the idea of this is my husband.
Right
at 23.
Yep,
wasn't providing the way. And what's strange too, and not trying to promote stereotypes of ethnicities, but as an African man, they take pride in providing.
Not once.
And he was fine with just chilling.
I'm always very open when I tell people I bought my wedding dress.
You did.
I bought my wedding ring. I bought his wedding ring. I bought his shoes. When I tell you I paid for everything, I was that girlfriend who like when we were at family dinner would like pass my card or like Venmo.
I will put you over my knee at 30 years old because that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I'm just like that is something that like, no, granted, yes, there's a balance between like, you pay for stuff, he pays for stuff.
Yeah.
I paid for everything. Every single thing.
Looking back, what were some manipulation tactics that he pulled with you?
I think it wasn't even like a manipulation thing. I think it was more so like I thought I knew what I was doing at 22.
Okay, so it wasn't even really him pulling strings. It was just you, rose-colored glasses.
A mix of both. So I will say, like, me just being like, oh, I'm going to do, like, I'm grown. I graduated college. I have a degree.
Yeah.
Still living at home. But, like, California's expensive. So if I, know. But it was a mix of, like, once we're married and once I get my green card, then I'll go to work. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, I get it. You can't work right now. So, like, cool. Once you get your green card, it'll work. Like, we'll be perfectly fine. Like, you're telling me that, like, this is so bad, but, like, it's hard to not make it a stereotypical thing when it comes to Africans.
Yeah.
But it's always my family is royalty back at home.
Oh, he pulled that?
Yes.
Oh.
I know. My dad worked for the government and, we have this big house and we this and we that and my grandfather's going to give me land and all this. So I'm thinking like, okay, you're going to come into some money. Not that that's like a major like, oh my gosh, he's rich type of thing.
It helps.
But like it helps.
23. Yeah. You hear that and you're like, oh, this sounds nice.
Yeah. Like, okay, once we're married, then you'll be able to provide the stuff that's going to be given to you in your culture because you're married.
Yeah.
Now, me also being infatuated with like my man is from a whole nother country. Like he's not even from here.
Yeah.
Wanting to do the whole African wedding and all of that. Yeah. Like he has an accent. None of that happened. I'd be like, hey, can we do like the traditional African wedding? Like, I'm trying to get some ones thrown. Like, they throw a lot of money.
Nothing.
He was like, I don't want to do that. Just like.
So he just wants you to be American.
Mm-hmm.
And just which is so not like an African man.
Exactly. And I always, once we got divorced, because it just got to a point where it's like, if you're not going to work, if you're not going to provide, if you're not like, you're just going to make moves and essentially have all these female friends that I have to sit up at Starbucks and have a conversation with, why don't I know you? Why haven't you asked to meet me? Type of things.
Wait.
Right. So he would have all these female friends who, oh, she's a singer. Oh, they rap. Oh, they do music production. Okay, but why haven't I met them?
Right.
And I'm definitely not like a jealous, insecure, like, oh, I think you're cheating if you're looking at a girl type of person. I've always had the mindset of, if this is your friend, that's fine. I would like to meet them.
Yeah, if it's innocent, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, we can all be friends. Like, but once it comes to, and he was a big smoker. Once it comes to, oh, I'm finna go smoke with her at 10 o'clock at night. No, you're not. So it was just a buildup of different things that were like, aside from that, just like the absolute disrespect that he had for my grandmother, number one, for letting him live in her house and not pay a single dime. But the absolute just complete disrespect, and the disrespect towards my mom, it was like, you know, that's crazy. This isn't it. And I always say, had it not been for my grandma, because I was always the type like, get your stuff and go. Every argument would be like, pack up your stuff, find somewhere to go tonight. But the last time, it was right around COVID, and he wanted to be out and about, and it's like, my grandmother is in her 70s at that time. In her 70s. He's putting her at risk. You're putting her at risk of catching COVID. And this was early on, like no vaccine had come out yet, and I was like, you know what, that was a big argument that we had, and I was like, you gotta go. And of course the whole, again, young, naive, like, oh my gosh, but like, okay, we made up. My grandma was like, Alexyz, I don't want him back. No, like I don't want him back here. Had it not been for that, I think I still would have been miserable married, because if it ever gets, and even in marriage, like, it got to a point where when he would come home, I'd be annoyed. I'd be like, oh, okay.
That's emotionally draining.
Yes.
Because your home is supposed to be your safe haven where you can just let go of the day. And then when you feel like you have to be on edge or just exhausted at the thought or sight of someone who is your significant other, that's not even we're past red flag. Yeah. That's like, you need to
get up and go. It's like burning red. And that happens even in relationships. Like, even outside of marriage, if you're in a lengthy relationship, like a 10 to 7 years of a relationship, that's just absolutely insane to me. But like, if you're in a relationship where it's like, okay, let me go ahead and go home, especially if you guys are living together, that's like a red flag that like, you know what, I need to go. So mentally, my mind was already fully out of it. I just was like, I don't want that, like, oh, she got married and now she's divorced stigma and stuff like that.
I'm glad that you are in this healthy relationship.
Yes.
Many blessings. I wish nothing but the best for you guys. I'm really rooting for you because you deserve it with all this craziness.
Girl.
With just like a couple seconds left before we wrap up, at the end of the episode, I would love if you just shared one key gem that you want someone who's listening right now who might be interested in dating an older man or just like currently dating a woman, a lesson that you learned that you would love to share with that person.
Yeah, I think a lesson that I really learned when it comes to dating an older man is go with your gut. Use the experiences that you've gone through and use the experiences that he's gone through. Have those conversations of what your past has looked like and what your future is going to look like, or what you want your future to look like. Don't shy away from it, whether it's the woman that's older or whether it's the man that's older. Find those things of what you've gone through in your past and have that conversation of how can we come together to better them. Age is, again, it's just a number, but it's an experience that matters. Older, a lot of times, might mean a better experience. So I would say look at the experiences before you look at the age to say, you know what, this isn't for me. Because that will be the truth of the matter. And for me, in my situation, it's gone great.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for listening and tuning in. You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're going to have YouTube and also some cut downs on TikTok. So I'm just super excited where this is going.
Yes.
And this was an amazing combo. Thank you
I cannot
so much.
wait to see where this goes. I'm so excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, tune in. In 2 weeks, we're going to have a new episode for you guys. Bye.
Bye.